Another doubleheader of WPF softball on tap, and game one of today's doubleheader, just like that, underway. Brant Freeman alongside Haley McKay here with you for game one of today's doubleheader. Up first, it is a rematch of last night's game between the Hub City Adelitas and the Texas Monarchs. And last night, Hub City, an impressive 9-1 run rule victory. And as this game is now underway, we'll talk lineups and pitcher in a moment. But first, addressing last night's game, Haley, maybe the best the Adelitas have played all year.
Adelitas run ruled the Monarchs last night 9-1. Those 9 runs account for all the runs scored in their previous 5 games combined, more than that. Monarchs, on the other hand, picked up their first run rule loss of the season. So both teams looking to stay in that win column. Adelitas trying to pick up their first back-to-back wins all season, and Monarchs looking to get back on track.
All right, that said, one batter in and a base hit for Blaze Behringer going opposite way, the leadoff hitter for the Monarchs. For Behringer, her second hit of the weekend. And this lineup facing off against Jaden Vickers in the circle for the Monarchs, who has pitched well in this ballpark. This is the third week the Monarchs have played here in San Marcos. Vickers here at Texas State's Bobcat Softball Stadium. Record of 1-0. The win came against the Texas Smoke, the reigning champions. Their only loss of the year, with Vickers able to beat them in the circle. ERA of 4.67 here. 3 appearances, couple of starts. 12 innings under her belt with 13 strikeouts. And now she's facing McKenna Brocky. A great night last night, the former San Diego State Aztec. 3 for 3 last night for Brocky at the plates. All 3 hits staying in the infield dirt. That's in there for a strike, 2-1.
Jaden Vickers, lefty, going to her curveball and her backdoor curveball a lot early in these first 2 batters against the Adelitas. Hasn't been quite able to figure out the spot on the corner to get the call, but she does pick it up there for a 2-1 count. Pushes
that bunt foul. The count's even 2-2. So the lineup for the Monarchs here today. We saw Behringer lead off the game with a base hit. Brocky batting second of the order here. On deck is Lena Rebeledo. Hitters 4 through 6, Daisy Munoz, Taylor Ellsworth, and Alejandra Casas. We'll get through 7 through 9 in a moment. 2-2 to Brocky. Fouled away. So here they are. Hitters 7, 8, and 9. Emily Bracamonte, Sierra Bryant, and Savannah Wasaki. Rounding out the order here for Hub City. Team that comes in with a record of 3-9. Now 1 game back of third place Coastal Bend in the standings. That's a miss by Vickers, and it fills the count 3-2.
It's a really great at-bat by McKenna Brocky. Tried to go to the sacrifice bunt early in the count to move Behringer over to second base, but she never chased out of the zone. Got a couple pitches she could foul off hard. Now she's worked it to a full count, trying to find a way to move the runner over.
In the air to right, and backing up to make the catch out in right field for the Monarchs is Sarah Fessler. And what a way here in the first inning.
Good job by Vickers in the circle just to continue to battle against Brocky. Found herself down in the count early, couldn't quite spot that curveball and backdoor curveball, but she never gave in, continued to work through the zone, found a way to get an out, and resulting in an unproductive out for the Adelitas.
Now Lena Rebeledo hit a big homer yesterday for Hub City. Rebeledo 2 for 3, driving in 2 with her home run. Out of Utah Valley and hailing from Riverside, California. Runner on, 1 out, and 2-0 to Rebeledo. Again, the Adelitas offensive last night, 9 runs scored in the 5-inning run rule. The 9 runs last night, more than the team's previous 5 games combined.
Softball is such a sport of momentum, and sometimes when the bats get hot, it just becomes super contagious at the plate. It can be hard to pick that up on a following day, but so far the Adelitas, with the hard leadoff single from Behringer, seem to have picked up right where they left off last night.
In the process, the win, snapping a 7-game losing streak. And while this team was really offensive, kind of lost in that conversation was just how good the pitching was last night for Hub City. Lexi Hanley, Allie Lights, Reboledo here with a fly ball left center, and there it goes. Second time in 2 days, Lena Reboledo goes deep, and the Adelitas strike first.
Jaden Vickers shook off the pitch call from Lily Piper behind the plate to throw that pitch against Reboledo, but she missed it, left it too much over the heart of the plate. Reboledo made her pay for it and absolutely smashed it out over Bradley St. Clair's head in center field.
Well, this team is playing some long ball this weekend for the Adelitas. That's now 4 homers for the offense in just 6 innings at the plate.
Like I said, when you get hot at the plate, hitting is contagious, and the Adelitas have picked up right where they left off, wasting no time jumping out to an early lead here.
And there's that Kodak moment for Reboledo as Blaze Behringer celebrating with the photo op at the plates. Bases cleared now, 1 down for Daisy Munoz.
Reboledo knew when she hit that it was gone. No doubt about it.
Just as I was talking about, the pitching just as much of a story as the offense comes through with another big hit. Munoz swing and a miss, the ball and a strike. So Hanley and Light combined to pitch 5 innings. They gave up just 1 run, only 2 hits against the Monarchs offense last night.
It's so common in the sport of softball when the defense is locked in, your pitching is locked in. It sets the tone for your offense. The Adelitas were in command with strong pitching in the circle, and they used that to their advantage offensively.
Good backhand pick by Kylie Sand to throw to first. Not in time. Munoz beats it out. Base hit for Munoz. And a runner on here with 1 down, the 3rd hit of the inning already.
The fact that Kylie Sand even got to this ball off the bat of Munoz is impressive. All of her momentum is taking her away from first base. She does her best to try to get as much as possible on that throw. Good job by Brookshire to dig it out on the short hop, but just not in time.
And out of the plate, Taylor Ellsworth, a player that Haley quite familiar with, not just because Ellsworth a tremendous college career, but you played with Ellsworth before.
Yeah, Taylor Ellsworth and I grew up playing travel ball together. Local kid like myself, went to Georgetown High School. I went to Leander, but we played travel ball together for the Texas Blaze. Growing up, I never thought I'd have this on my bingo card of commentating your friend playing pro softball, but life's a funny thing. It's come completely full circle, so I'm excited to see her back out in a uniform.
And what's funny is that the two of you had kind of parallel careers in opposite directions. You began your career at Arkansas 1 year, come to Texas State, then play 4 for Ellsworth, plays at Texas for 4 years, goes to Arkansas for 1.
Very good point. I never even realized that in our own friendship, but both of us were using COVID to our advantage in that sense. I decided to transfer after my freshman year, and Taylor Ellsworth got an opportunity with a 6-year actually, because she also had a medical redshirt in there, to transfer over to Arkansas and had a phenomenal super senior campaign, if you will.
Hitters Scott for Ellsworth facing Vickers. In there for strike 3 and 2. Vickers from Crystal River, Florida. This year, pitching at Kentucky, only 1 year in Lexington, before that 4 years at Rutgers. Won 6 games with the Wildcats this year, 68 strikeouts this season. Full count pitch, and that's fouled away by Ellsworth.
Good job by Ellsworth to just continue to battle. What she's doing playing with the Adelitas right now is so challenging. I can't overstate that enough. She just signed a contract to play with the Adelitas last weekend. Obviously a phenomenal athlete, had a wonderful college career, and is already experienced in the pro game, but it is so difficult to just pick a bat up and swing a hot bat like she's done so far.
It's been unbelievable. Ellsworth, for lack of a better term, was picked up off the street, not literally, of course, but joins the team on Sunday, and she's done nothing but produce. Another base hit for Ellsworth. So her body of work so far with this team, she's been on base now 4 times in 6 plate appearances, had a caught stealing last Sunday as well. Just a pro's pro, Taylor Ellsworth.
I did ask her about her game plan. obviously as friends, just because I know she hadn't played in a while. And she said, honestly, I'm just trying to swing at a good pitch. And she's keeping it so simple because she knows she hasn't played in a while, not putting too much pressure on herself. And if that's not a case study for a good approach at the plate, I'm not sure what is, because it's definitely working well for her right now.
But all we ask now is that Ellsworth get a team helmet and a jersey.
I think she's earned it.
So it's funny, again, she's wearing a Hub City Adelitas shirt. Her jersey, I assume, has been ordered, just hasn't been delivered yet. In case you're wondering, yes, she does have a jersey number. It's 71, which is the flip, the inverse of what she wore at Texas and Arkansas of 17.
It's funny that you bring up the fact that, you know, pro softball, you would think that's something that's definitely addressed. What I feel like a lot of viewers don't realize about this league is this is something that didn't even exist a couple years ago when I was playing in college, and Taylor Ellsworth and so many other athletes. This league is brand new. There's a lot of logistics that the teams are, us up here in the booth, are figuring out as we go. But the fact that these post-college athletes now have an opportunity as softball players to continue their careers is so special. And it may not be what you expect when you think of professional sports, but everybody starts somewhere. So the fact that we're here and that these games are streamed and we get to shine light on these phenomenal athletes continuing their careers, it's just something that can't be overlooked.
So far in the inning for the Adelitas, 4 hits, couple of runs, only 1 out for Vickers. Alejandra Casas, the batter, who had a brilliant game last night after not playing with the team the last couple of weeks. Casas last night 3 for 3. Homer, doubled, and drove in 3. It was her solo shot that gave the Adelitas an 8-run lead in the 5th inning. Here's a little pop-up towards center, and Sand from second base able to cut off Briley St. Clair in the outfield to make the catch.
Great job by Sand, going back, no hesitation to secure the second out. The over-the-shoulder catches, especially as a middle infielder or a corner going backwards with someone behind you coming in, whether it be the outfield or your middle infielder, it's always a little bit tough because you don't want to go too aggressive and run into your teammate, but you have to assume that no one's going to catch that ball but you. It's a great job by Kylie Sand to get a good jump on it and secure the catch.
Now to the plate, Emily Bracamonte, 7th batter of the inning. 2 on, 2 away. Strike 1 to Bracamonte. We've talked about uniforms quite a bit as both Hub City and Coastal Bend have introduced new threads this week. On the topic of your gear, Kylie Sand just made that catch. Notice that the clip she's wearing in her hair is that of a butterfly to coincide with the Monarchs butterfly theme.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
It's always been the saying. Got to have a little fun with it.
You can see the edges of it right there. I believe I also caught the catcher, Kelly Torres, last night with a butterfly kind of clipped into her catcher's helmet.
Softball has so many little intricacies, like things in the dugout, hair clips, whether it's ribbons, eye black, accessories. You got to get into it. You got to make it fun. At the end of the day, it's a game. The more fun you can have with it, the likely you are to be more free when you play. So I'm here for the butterfly clips.
2-1 from Vickers facing Bracamonte, who's been swinging a good bat as of late. Bracamonte in the finale against the Smoke on Sunday hit a 2-run homer. Had a double in the win against the Monarchs last night. Munoz at second base, Ellsworth at first. Or I beg your pardon, it's Alejandra Casas' pinch running for her at first base now. On the ground, Vickers can't get there. Over from third. That play is made by Sarah Vanderford. Charges in and makes a play. Vanderford, one of the top defensive third basemen in her college career at the D1 level, makes a great play at third there. However, the Adelitas scored twice on the 2-run homer hit by Lena Reboledo. They also strained 2. We go to the bottom of the first in a 2-0 game. Monarchs trailing against the Adelitas. 2-0 Adelitas on top, so an early lead for tonight's starting pitcher Chloe Temples. Temples from Marietta, Florida, pitched at BYU for 3 seasons. Final year as a Cougar, pitching in Provo, went 11-6, ERA of 4.61, 119 strikeouts, and has pitched well this season against the Monarchs. Temples 13 1/3 innings, 10 punch-outs facing this team. As we look now at the Monarchs lineup, leading off is Bradley St. Clair. We'll also see Kylie Sand and Sarah Vanderford in the first inning. Heart of the order, batters 4, 5, and 6, Piper, Brookshire, and Day. Bottom third of the order, Sarah Fessler, Jada Kearney, and Devin Flaherty. With right now Sand and St. Clair visiting with head coach Candace Fitton-Bachbrader.
Monarchs finding themselves down 2-0 here early in this ball game, but absolutely no reason to panic whatsoever. Ton of game left. Don't need to change your approach at the plate and try to do too much. Just have to find a way to get runners on, get them over, and ultimately get them in.
Monarchs getting run ruled last night for the first time all season. They swept Hub City a couple of weeks ago, but since then they've dropped 3 of 4. And the offense last night not really productive. Only run of the game came on a Kylie Sand sac fly in the 3rd inning, as the Monarchs had just 2 hits the entire game. St. Clair facing Temples. And takes that for a strike of the call from Robert Sines behind the plate. Meanwhile, on the circle for the Monarchs, Aspen Wesley got the start. And she had pitched so well the first 3 weeks of the year, but last night got touched up. 4 earned runs and 3 innings of work, and gave up 3 extra base hits. St. Clair a swing and a miss. It is 0-2.
Chloe Temples wasting no time going after St. Clair, got ahead early, then got St. Clair to expand the strike zone there for strike number 2, again on another curveball.
0-2 from Temples. St. Clair with a pop-up, and that's going to drift just out of play. Saw Sierra Bryan give chase in left field, and St. Clair stays alive.
Looked like Sierra Bryan was just a little unsure how close she was to that wall. To me, it looked like she had room to potentially go for a sliding catch there, or even stay on her feet. Maybe a miscommunication between Brocky and her at shortstop. But I think if Sierra Bryan could have that one back, she would take another stab at it.
Up the middle, that's going to sneak through for a base hit for Briley St. Clair. Leadoff single starts the bottom of the first here for the Monarchs.
Good job by Briley St. Clair just to continue to battle. But this pitch from Temples is just too sweet on a 0-2 count, right down the heart of the plate, belt high. St. Clair doesn't have to do much to find her way on with a pitch like that right down the heart of the plate.
So St. Clair is on with her first hit of the series, and that's going to bring up Kylie Sand. Great player at Rutgers this year. Up the middle, and that's through for a base hit. Back-to-back pitches, back-to-back singles for the Monarchs. 2 on and nobody out.
Great job by Kylie Sand understanding the approach from Temples in the circle with only just 1 batter in front of her. Temples tries to go back to that backdoor curveball again, but another pitch just too much over the heart of the plate. Sand saw St. Clair in front of her take a first pitch strike, and she was ready for it when she got her opportunity, and now the Monarchs have 2 on with nobody out.
Now the ex-Texas State Bobcat, Sarah Vanderford, had a really solid play at third and the top half of this inning. Takes the pitch on the inner half for a strike there.
I like that decision from Temples to show Sarah Vanderford a change of pace, going to the off speed there. A lot of times you'll see pitchers attack power hitters like Sarah Vanderford with change-ups, off speeds, off-speed curves, whatever it may be early in the count, because they know that these veteran hitters like to attack early when they get the chance.
With the first couple of weeks of WPF play, the rookie Vanderford just came storming out of the gates. 11 RBI in her first 8 pro games.
So impressive. But also when you think about a player like Sarah Vanderford that just came off college season, a very successful run with the Texas State Bobcats, she was seeing a lot more live pitching than a lot of these other veteran pro athletes that have played for a couple years. If you're a pro athlete that's been out of college for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have to go out of your way to find friends that throw live to you, maybe get an old coach to simulate some live at-bats. But sometimes as hitters, it takes a lot of at-bats for you to start to feel comfortable. So Vanderford, coming right out of college, had the luxury of having those live at-bats much closer to her and more accessible than some of these other athletes that have been out of college for a while.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, for several of these WPF rookies, it was out of the pan into the fire right away. The season beginning, maybe 3 weeks after the World Series ended?
And it depends what kind of hitter you are, too. Sometimes a lot of live at-bats can get some hitters in their head if they're not performing well. But me, as an example, I prefer to see a lot of live pitching.
Fly ball deep to right, tracked down by Rebeledo. Tagging from second to third, St. Clair, and the throw gets away from Brocky. And St. Clair is going to score all the way from seconds.
I thought Sarah Vanderford had a chance to pick up 3 RBIs on that swing, but I think the wind of this ballpark just held that inside the right field fence. Rebeledo doing a great job going back, securing an over-the-shoulder catch, but the errant throw into second base is what allows St. Clair to advance and ultimately score.
And critical error there. Committed by the outfield, St. Clair coming home to cut the lead in half. Now 2-1, and stands now at second base. Curveball dropped in there for a strike to Lily Piper. 0-1 to the Monarchs catcher.
Going back to that replay, you could tell that St. Clair was not expecting to score on that at all. She was just jogging into third, knew she was going to make an easy stand-up advancement with how deep Rebeledo was out in right field. But her coach told her the ball got away, and she had to hurry.
Piper, nice bunt, and Temples can't field it cleanly. So the Monarchs now taking advantage of this Adelita defense. 2 on, only 1 out, and the tying run at third.
Lily Piper, this just comes down to knowing the game. Munoz at first base is completely behind the bag. Lily Piper just squares around, drops down a sneaky bunt, perfectly placed up the first baseline. And even if Temples fields that cleanly, I'm not sure she's got to play there because she caught everyone off guard, Lily Piper that is, by just dropping down a sneaky bunt single, excuse me.
You know, initially I thought it was going to be scored as a sac bunt, but it has, been scored as a bunt single there for Piper. So runners in the corners here. Already run in for the Monarchs, trailing 2-1. A team that has a record of 6-6 currently. 5 games back of first place Texas, the Texas Smoke, who are widening the gap in the standings right now. The Smoke 11-1, the Monarchs second place at 6-6. Coastal Bend at third at 4-8, and Hub City a game back of the tidal wave at 3-9. Now to the plate, Susie Brookshire from Hollister, California. 3 different collegiate stops throughout her career. Hit a homer last week for the Monarchs against Coastal Bend. First time we've seen her here in San Marcos. And now rundown, Sand is out of the base pass. She's out. Got tracked down by Taylor Ellsworth. And so, some defensive misplays leading to extra bases for the Monarchs, but kind of paid the favor back with the base running out.
I'm not exactly sure what the original game plan was here by the Monarchs, but great job by Taylor Ellsworth to just get Kylie Sand to commit. That's the #1 key in rundowns, is you have to make the base runner commit. Taylor Ellsworth recognizes that Kylie Sand is halfway down the line. It honestly maybe have been a squeeze situation because you saw Brookshire square around and offer at a pitch that was pretty far out of the zone, it looked like. So maybe it was a squeeze bunt that kind of went wrong. But nonetheless, great job by the Adelitas and Taylor Ellsworth to not panic, get Kylie Sand to commit back to third base and secure an out.
Piper now at second. So a runner in scoring position here for Brookshire. 1 ball, 1 strike from Temples. Brookshire is swing and a miss on a ball elevated. It's 1-2.
sometimes when you have a base running miscue like that results in an out for you on defense, it can really kind of settle the defense down. Temples has given up some hard hit balls, had the error from Robledo out in right field.
Brookshire fly ball, right field, deep and gone. Susie Brookshire with a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run homer, and the Monarchs have their first lead of the game.
This ball from Susie Brookshire was absolutely crushed. I think it got out of here before Robledo could even turn all the way around to look at it out in right center field. You said it, Brant, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Again, just another pitch that's too sweet from Temples. Now the Monarchs have taken the lead here in the bottom of the first.
Great response from this team after getting run ruled last night, surrendering an early 2-0 lead today. You know, Brookshire, a lot of pop of the bat. Twice at single-season home run records at Sacramento State, one of her 3 collegiate stops. And here homers for the second time in this WPF season. Brookshire also played at Long Beach State and San Jose State. And 3 runs on the board here, and with that, it looks like the Adelitas are going to make a change in the circle. So the new pitcher coming in is Yanina Trevino out of Monterrey, Mexico. Played in the Mexican League this past winter for the Monterrey Sultans, her home city. And pitching for the first time in this ballpark this year. For the Adelitas, this is their 3rd straight week playing here in San Marcos. 2 weeks ago in this series against the Monarchs. Last week against the Smoke. Here again for the series against the Monarchs. And you know, we've chronicled this on the broadcasts, Haley, for head coach Jamie Wars' team. It's a lot of back and forth. They haven't been staying in San Marcos the whole time. After every series, they've been heading back to Lubbock to come back from Lubbock to San Marcos each week.
Which, for those that are not familiar with this area, and on top of that, just how large the state of Texas is, that's what, a 6.5, 7-hour drive, especially on a charter bus like these athletes are. That is a lot of travel and a lot of logistical things you have to plan for, a lot of time on the road. That takes a toll on you.
Final warm-up pitches here for Yanina Trevino. Again, we saw 2 pitchers last night, Lights and Handley. Also available to pitch if needed, Liv Gray and Justice Perry. So the situation here, nobody on, 2 out. The Adelitas scoring twice in the top of the first inning on a 2-run homer hit by Lena Robledo. And the Monarchs have responded. Of the first 5 batters in the inning, 4 of them getting hits, 3 singles, and the homer hit by Susie Brookshire. Did so with 2 outs and on a 2-strike counts, and it is 3-2 Monarchs on top.
All the hits that the Monarchs have had, too, have been super solid contact. It's not like they're dropping bloop singles and miss hits off the handle into the field of play. I mean, we're making Temples pay for pitches left over the heart of the plate.
Base is clear for Leywood Day. Takes the first pitch inside, almost clipped her. 1 ball, no strikes. Leywood Day, like Brookshire before her, a great slugger at Sacramento State. Spent all 5 of her seasons there with the Hornets and was the co-Big Sky Player of the Year this year.
We actually got to take a trip out to Sacramento State when I played for Texas State. We went to a tournament out there, which ironically enough was the last weekend before COVID.
Really?
Yes.
That 2020 Division I year, softball gets going. A lot of momentum. Conference play just starting around the country, and then all of a sudden the doors shut down on not only the softball season, where there was no NCAA men's or women's basketball tournament. The baseball season was about 3 weeks in before COVID ended it all. That ball smacked to the left field, a base hit for Day. Under the glove of Bracamonte at third. Day hustling her way to second base, slides in with a 2-out double, and the hits keep coming for the Monarchs.
feel like a broken record a little bit, but that's just another ball off the bat of these Monarch hitters that is absolutely crushed. Laywood Day takes this pitch on the outer half of the plate and just ropes it right past Bracamonte, who does everything she can in a diving effort over there at third base, but just no chance when that ball is hit so hard off the bat of Laywood Day.
And Jimmy Juarez, Adelitas head coach, now visiting with Robert Sines behind the plate. The conversation now trickles near the circle along with Lyndon Baptiste, our first base umpire, and one of the other assistants for Hub City. Any thoughts as to what this conversation might be about, Haley?
Well, originally my thought was perhaps Laywood Day or the Monarchs hit out of order or something wasn't right lineup card-wise, but the fact that they're near the circle and brought over Lyndon Baptiste from the first base umpire position makes me wonder if it was a call with Trevino in the circle. Maybe they saw an illegal pitch, and of course the Monarchs electing to stick with the outcome of the double, but I'm wondering if it's a conversation of something that Trevino's doing in the circle that first base umpire picked up on, because he seems to be doing most of the conversing right now. It did look like Lyndon Baptiste was kind of doing a motion with the hand in the glove, so it could be a difference in rules from International League to the WPF. Trevino coming from Monterrey, Mexico, perhaps a different change of rules that she's not used to.
And now Jenna Bouillon, our third base umpire, talking to Candace Fitton-Bachbrader, the Monarchs head coach, about it.
I'm going to guess based on the gesturing of the umpires that it's either related to how Trevino was getting on the mound or something that she was doing with moving the ball from her hand to her glove and then back to her glove.
We'll keep a closer eye on that as Trevino continues to work in the circle here. Swing and a miss by Fessler, 0-1. Everything seemed to be on the up and up on that delivery by Trevino.
I do notice something that is different. She does get on the mound with the ball in her glove. Then she places the ball behind her back, and then she comes to her glove a second time, which you don't typically see. Once pitchers get set in their glove, that ball typically stays set.
Pop-up glove by Ellsworth to end the inning. This has been an offensive first inning in San Marcos. The Adelitas scored twice. The Monarchs scored 3 times, to include a huge 2-out, 2-run bomb from Susie Brookshire. And this homer has given the Monarchs a 3-2 lead. To the second inning we go from San Marcos. All right, so there was a lot going on in the first inning. Hub City scoring twice on 4 hits. The Monarchs scored 3 runs on 5 of their own. Each team a 2-out, 2-run homer. And also some controversy, if you want to call it that, about what was happening in the circle. Yanina Trevino came in to relieve Chloe Temple. Shortly after she came into the game, there was a long conversation with Adelitas head coach Jamie Juarez and the crew, the umpire crew. And the conversation has extended as we go to the second inning. And what you were talking about, Haley, going into the commercial break, was perhaps it's the fact that Trevino was going to her glove twice.
Yeah, so once your feet are set on the rubber as a pitcher and your hand comes set to deliver that pitch, if you pull the ball out of your glove and you don't deliver the pitch, that's illegal. So my guess is when Trevino was stepping onto the mound, the ball was in her glove, then she was pulling it out of her glove, putting it behind her back. Then she came set again before delivering. And I'm guessing that's what the conversation was, and it looked like one of her teammates was maybe helping kind of translate the understanding in between the innings. So we'll see if she changes her delivery when she comes back out.
Now, I do wonder, because you would come to that conclusion, after the conversation happened, and this was after Leywood Day's double. Well, she continued to do that for the next batter, and Day was not awarded another base.
So with the way the rules have changed now, if a pitch is illegal, it's no longer awarded an advance base, which is why Day didn't move up. It just goes as a ball on the batter.
A ball, got it.
But I am wondering, and this is just my assumption, if the rule is different in Mexico where Trevino plays and has come from, perhaps that was part of the conversation and say, let's get through this inning. We'll talk to her in between innings, because you could see the conversation extended to your point. So I'm very curious when she comes back out if the delivery will change. Because if it's a rule discrepancy of what you're not used to, it's probably, I mean, yes, rules are rules, but you don't want to continue to penalize her for something that she's just learning in this moment, right, and playing in a new league. So we'll see what happens. But that's a new one for both of us.
Well, back to the matter at hand here. Sarah Bryan at the leadoff base hit. She's at first. Nobody out, and the batter here is Savannah Wasaki out of El Paso. Hasn't played with the team over the past couple of weeks. And Wasaki with the ground ball, and that's going to get on through to left. Rolls all the way to the wall. Rounding third is Bryan. She'll come home and tie the game. Over to third base with a triple is Wasaki. So welcome back to the team, Savannah Wasaki. Well, a ground ball that got by 3 fielders, rolled all the way to the wall, and ties the game at 3.
What a perfectly placed ground ball from Savannah Wasaki. Devin Flaherty, as shortstop, is shaded up the middle. She can't get to it. Jada Kearney, who's covering the left field line, is shaded over towards the line, and she can't get there either. And with the speed of Savannah Wasaki, she just motors around all the way to third base.
Yeah, Kearney was playing so shallow. That ball was unable to stay in front of it. A ball hit like that, you think is a single all the way. A double maybe with a good runner, but a triple on a ball hit that not hit all that hard.
It's just a perfect cat and mouse game of placement there, because you said it, Brant. It wasn't a hard hit ball. It might be the softest hit, truly legitimate triple I've probably ever seen in both playing and commentating. But just with the positioning of Jada Kearney, who rightfully so is trying to shade that line with slappers, which you do see often, to make sure that nothing bloops and gets away into the left field corner. But just a perfectly placed ball.
By the way, Wasaki, who's now at third base, she too played in the Mexican Softball League earlier this year. She was a second outfielder drafted to the league, so a high draft pick, played in the winter. Now playing here in the summer in the WPF. That's high to Behringer and a 4-pitch walk. So Behringer's on for the second time. Vickers struggled to navigate this lineup the first time through, now seeing it for a second time, and that's going to bring out a visitation from pitching coach Tyler Gunnelson.
Not surprised to see Gunnelson come out here, have a conversation with the defense. One, you're in a first and third situation with a lot of speed on the bases and speed in the box, so you have to talk defensively about how you're going to handle this. But two, you said it, Brant, Vickers struggled to handle the top part of this order, giving up 4 hits and 2 runs in the top of the first inning. now you've got the top of the order coming around again with runners on base, chance to do more damage. So likely a conversation not only of how are we going to approach these hitters, but what are we going to do defensively in this first and third situation with no outs.
So that's it for the meeting. And Vickers now going to face off against McKenna Brocky. So far, a single, a triple, and a walk in the inning. Nobody out for the Adelitas. And the go-ahead run over at third. And Behringer at first base. Runners in the corners here for Brocky. Swung on right field, right to Fessler. And tagging third is Wasaki. She'll score standing, and it's 4-3. Adelitas on top, and Brocky sac fly.
Good execution by Brocky. Hits the ball hard, deep enough into right field for Wasaki to score easily from third. But if Fessler out there in right field had been able to throw that in directly to first base, she might have had a chance to get Behringer at first because Behringer was stealing on the play. So the throw came home to try to throw out Wasaki at home, rightfully so, but I don't think they would have had a play there. So I'm wondering if Fessler would have thrown it to first right away if they would have had a chance for a double play.
Rebolledo with a fly ball. Fessler coming in. Has it for the second out. And so for Vickers here, yes, has surrendered the lead, but after that visitation from her pitching coach, it seems like she's settled down a little bit.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Just a little bit of a conversation, make sure you're on the same page. Anytime you can pick up a quick out after slowing the momentum of the game down, it's sometimes all you need to get right back on track.
Daisy Munoz takes a pitch to the dirt, bounces away from Piper. And another base for Behringer now in scoring position. Well, something has gotten into this Adelitas team offensively. The first two games of the series last week against a really good Smoke pitching staff, they were shut out. Then put up a fight on Sunday, scoring 5 runs. 9 scored last night, 4 already here today. Munoz fly ball, that's out of play to the right side of the counts. A ball and a strike.
You know, we talked about this earlier in the first inning. Taylor Ellsworth on deck, signing on to the Adelitas just last weekend. And I'm not saying that her joining the team changed the outcome of the game, but you just have to wonder if her leadership and her experience may have made a difference in that dugout. And, hey, let's focus on this against this pitcher. Let's try to hit the ball on the ground here. Ellsworth has so much experience, not only at the college level, but also professionally, and she's played over in Japan as well. So having that kind of veteran presence maybe join the team definitely could have had an impact on the Adelitas. And it helps when she's hitting 750 so far here in San Marcos on her very brief season as well. So if somebody like that's giving you some advice in the dugout, it probably goes a little bit further than someone that's really struggling at the plate.
So, yeah, just kind of a new look for the Adelitas, not just the new jerseys. 3-1 to Munoz, singled earlier in the game against Vickers. And that ball ripped right to Vanderford at third for the line out to end the inning. But the Adelitas have seesawed back in front. They scored twice in the top of the second. An offensive start to this game with the Adelitas on top of the Monarchs, 4-3 in San Marcos. And we're back at Bobcat Softball Stadium looking again at Yanita Trevino. making sure she makes the proper adjustments in the circle. There were a lot of conversations when she was out there previously in the first inning about not handling her pre-delivery with the proper WPF etiquette, and that is once you put the ball into the glove, you can't take it out and back in again.
Yeah, so in the first inning, Trevino was stepping on the mound, taking the ball out of her glove and putting it behind her back, and then bringing it back set again in her glove prior to her delivery. And it looks like she has removed that step of putting the ball behind her back to fall in line with the WPF rules. I saw her very first warm-up pitch. She went back to her old habit, of course. It's super hard to break anything that is part of your routine, which I'm sure has been part of Trevino's routine for a very long time. But you can see assistant coach here in the circle trying to help her remember what she can and can't do. So this conversation now is confirming to me the fact that the previous inning conversation was definitely related to a pitch rule issue.
Now, having seen this particular coach out there before, I wonder if that is a translator to help communicate to Trevino.
Could be. And I also, after the bottom of the first inning, I saw one of her teammates kind of, I think, translating as well.
Yeah.
So looks like a little bit of a language barrier may also be in play.
All right, so here we go to the bottom of the second. 4-3 Adelitas on top. Game one of a doubleheader of WPF softball. The nightcap, the Texas Smoke, the reigning champions, taking on Coastal Bend. Last night's the Smoke winning 7-1, scoring all 7 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. That Texas Smoke team, man, just offensively, they can hammer you with these big crooked number innings. The Adelitas know all too well. They carried a 3-1 lead into the 5th inning against the Smoke on Sunday. They put up 7 to come back and win that game.
The Smoke just has so many big boppers and veteran hitters. Not only can they swing it, but they've been swinging it for a long time. So you give the Smoke an inch, they're going to take a mile. And they certainly made the Adelitas pay for it.
And what was wild about last night, the big inning that they had, they're playing this week without 2 of their big bats. Janae Jefferson and Savannah Jaquish are currently with the U.S. national team in Italy. So that offense can still have innings like that even without 2 of those productive players.
It doesn't get much more fully loaded from top to bottom than the Texas Smoke. That's for sure.
Jada Kearney, the former Georgia Bulldog, draws a leadoff walk. The leadoff batter has reached in every half inning so far. They're 4 for 4.
It's a good start offensively to get your leadoff on every inning.
But just think of the pressure that puts on your pitching, your defense as well. It's really no secret why, we've seen 7 runs scored already.
Definitely, and anytime there's constant traffic on the base pass, it's hard to feel like you're in control or have any momentum defensively, which then carries over into your offensive at-bats of, oh, we got to do something here to get momentum back on our side. So you're probably pressing a little bit. You're maybe forcing things to happen. It's a lot easier to hit and play defense when you handle traffic and you keep people off the bases.
The batter here, Devin Flaherty. Ahead, 2 balls, no strikes. Flaherty from Sarasota, Florida. 5 years, a Florida State Seminole. Bat stays on her shoulder and takes ball 3. A 4-time All-ACC player. Her second team All-Conference honors in Tallahassee this year. And she's a tremendous base runner. She gets on base, you talk about pressure. It really amplifies. Stole over 100 bases in her Florida State career. And here she is now on base in 4 pitches.
It feels like Trevino is really still struggling out in the circle with the fact that her routine has been thrown off. And whether you're a hitter or a pitcher or a defender and you've played the game for this amount of time, there's certain nuances of your game that are just second nature to you. And if I had to guess right now, the fact that Trevino's delivery has been thrown off, and while it's pre-pitch, it's still something that she's very comfortable with doing. So now she's out of rhythm, she's out of sync, she's fallen behind both Jada Kearney and just threw 4 straight balls to Devin Flaherty. So just looks like she's out of sorts in the circle and trying to figure out how she can get back into a rhythm.
And I just saw one of the Adelitas bullpen pitchers come back to the dugout, tells me that she's ready to come into the game at moment's notice. And we'll see how much longer Trevino stays in. St. Clair, in what is a bunt situation, takes the bat back with the count even now. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Back to your point about traffic on the base pass. Now you've put the 8 and 9 hole hitters on. If you're the Adelitas, you got speed at the plate. That's also the top of the lineup that can bunt, slap, or swing away. So you're not only on your heels as a defender, but you have to cover multiple things. And that definitely takes a toll on you defensively in terms of pressure.
And the Adelitas have also just sent Liv Gray to the bullpen to warm up as well. And I want to go back to what you were saying, Haley. The routine has certainly been disrupted here for Yanita Trevino, and so much so that you can see just how big the misses are.
Yeah, the misses are huge. And when you think about the routine that you have as an athlete, let's take a free throw shooter or a pitcher, whatever it may be, the purpose of that routine is to settle you down, to give you something to focus on, and to make every pitch the same in terms of feel so that no moment feels too big. Now for Trevino, her routine is out the window. She's thrown off. Even though it's pre-pitch, it's not really part of her delivery. Everything that she's used to doing to settle herself back down is thrown off. And you can just tell, like you said, the misses are big. Her defense is trying to settle her in and say, hey, we got your back. Just give them something to hit so we can make a play for you. But your defense can't defend walks.
Imagine you being told as a hitter, because you were a hitter, Haley, that's all of a sudden in the middle of your at-bat, you're called back by your coach and told, like, no, your foot has to be back a whole foot further,
right?
Towards the box. And don't bring it back up.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that batting stance forever. That's a very difficult adjustment to ask anybody to make.
100%. And even though it's not technically part of my swing or my pitch delivery, everything else feels different. Everything that I'm used to doing doesn't feel like I'm used to doing it anymore. So I think we're going to see a pitching change here now that the bases have been loaded all via the walk.
Yeah, that is going to be it for Trevino. Looks like Liv Gray is coming out of the bullpen here for Hub City. The spectacled Liv Gray from Woodland, Washington. Pitched for Michigan State her final year of college softball this year. Before that, 4 years at Portland State. Her teammate, Peyton Lopez, a catcher on this Adelitas team, not starting in today's game. But for Liv Gray, making her first appearance of the series, did not pitch against the Monarchs in the series here a couple of weeks ago. Her numbers in East Lansing this year with the Spartans, 2.41 ERA, huge body of work, over 148 innings pitched, struck out more than 160, 10th on the all-time single season list of Michigan State in strikeouts.
She's going to inherit a tough situation here. Bases loaded, no outs. Your only option as a pitcher come into this situation is to go right at the batter, Kylie Sand, who, ironically enough, delivered a very hard hit first pitch single in her first at bat. So Kylie Sand is expecting Liv Gray to come at her early in the count because she has to. She has no other option. So if I'm Kylie Sand right now, I'm feeling really good about my approach.
Last night in game one of the doubleheader, it was a smoke against the tidal wave. Your former teammate, Jessica Mullins, comes into the game at a high leverage situation like this, albeit later in the game. Her team down 1-0, bases loaded, and inherited a pitch count, 2-0. And then Mullins, as you saw her do so many times, came through and delivered.
And that goes back to the conversation we were having about routines, right? The whole purpose of the routine is so that when you get in big moments like bases loaded and you're down in a 2-0 count, wow, what a stop by Taylor Ellsworth. I have to interrupt my own train of thought for that because that definitely just saved a run. But the routine is what keeps that moment from getting too big. And when your routine is thrown off for whatever it may be, it's really hard to recover as an athlete.
One ball, no strikes to Sand. That ball rolls all the way to the backstop, and coming home is Kearney to score the tying run of the wild pitch.
wasn't a bad miss here from Liv Gray. Perhaps maybe a miscommunication between Gray and Ellsworth behind the plate. It just slips under the glove of Ellsworth. Definitely a pitch that she expects herself to catch and would want back if given the opportunity.
That ball smacked to right field at a base hit. Coming home to score the go-ahead run is Flaherty throw to the plates, and St. Clair tagged out. So Lena Reboledo, big swing with a bat early in the game, big throw here to the plates. St. Clair gunned down, but the Monarchs have taken the lead back.
Kylie Sand delivering another hard hit ball. Great job by Reboledo out and right. Delivers a perfect one hop to Ellsworth at the plate. Nothing Briley St. Clair can do in that situation. Just absolutely hosed. Maybe tried to stop a little bit sooner and get in a rundown, but just great execution defensively by the Adelitas.
That ball belted to left, and it hooks foul and out of play for Sierra Bryan. Vanderford jumping on the first pitch and just missing. So, man, it has been a tough day to be a pitcher in this game. 9 runs have scored already. Each team 6 hits.
I don't know about you, but it's my scorebook's a little chaotic with all the action.
Yes. Fly ball, left field, hammered, and it is gone. Sarah Vanderford with a 2-run shot. Second home run of the game for the Monarchs on top 7-4.
You know, off the bat, I did not think that this ball was going to get out. It gets kind of jammed up off of Sarah Vanderford's hands, but the just brute strength that she has to push this ball over the left field wall, it just kept carrying, got up in the wind stream. She doesn't even get all of it, and she definitely clears the fence, hits it off of the canopy out there in the upper deck. Her head coach, Ricky Woodard, described her as a bad ball hitter, and if that's not an example of that off the bat of Sarah Vanderford, I'm not sure what is.
Vanderford, a great home run hitter in her college career, the program's all-time leader in home runs, and she has feasted against this Monarchs team. Now for the season, Vanderford against Monarchs pitching is 5 for 13, 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in. And another change in the circle here for the Adelitas. We're in the second inning. There have only been 4 outs recorded by the staff, and this is the 4th different pitcher Hub City has used. Into the game now is Allie Lights.
This is definitely uncharacteristic in terms of how you usually see a pitching staff utilized up to this point in the ball game. Just looks like the Adelitas are trying to find some kind of answer.
And the answer right now, the hope, is Allie Lights did pitch well in relief last night after the start from Lexi Hanley. Light, 2 2/3, did not give up a run or a hit against this Monarchs lineup last night.
I'm a little surprised that the leash for Gray was as short as it was, only because she inherited a difficult situation. She gave up a single to Kylie Sand, which was well placed, but it wasn't hit overly hard. And of course, the 2-run home run off the bat of Sarah Vanderford is not something that you want to see. But again, I mean, if you look at it in terms of the grand scheme of things, she maybe missed 2 pitches there in the grand sequence. And you had the pass ball by Taylor Ellsworth, which wasn't Gray's fault in the grand scheme of things. So definitely interesting to see how short that leash was. And maybe there's something that we don't know in terms of, you know, Light being more ready or has a different approach that they feel would work better against the Monarchs, but.
So Chloe Temple started the game, gave Jamie Juarez 2/3 of an inning. Yanita Trevino got 1 out. Liv Gray got 1 out. All the meanwhile, 7 runs have scored. Here's Allie Light facing off against the lead Piper. Falls behind, 0-2. Game 2 of the series. Again, the Adelitas, a convincing 9-1 run rule victory last night. Haley and I talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Arguably the best game the Adelitas have played all year. Felt like the momentum carrying over into this game. established an early 2-0 lead. And after giving up 3 in the first inning, scored twice again in the second. But to the Monarchs' credit, they have responded after a tough game last night.
And that's what being successful in the sport of softball is all about. There's going to be things that happen that are outside of your control or that are not in your favor, but it's all about how you respond and how quickly you respond. If you give up, let's say, 2 runs in the first inning and you wait until the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs to decide to answer, that's tough. But if you give up 2 runs like the Monarchs did in the top of the first and you put 3 on the board right back, now you're right back in the ball game. So it's all about how do you respond, how do you do what you can with the opportunities that you have that are in your control to get the momentum back on your side and get the game back in your favor.
Well, Piper smashes a base hit off the wall, legs out a double. So Piper's second hit of the game. Another extra base hit here for the Monarchs. And they are up to 7 hits in the game.
How about Lily Piper, the catcher, laying down a sneaky bunt in her first at bat, and then she says, okay, now my second at bat, I'm going to double off the wall, because why not? That's just a veteran approach all the way around, using the defense positioning to her advantage. Great piece of hitting all the way around.
Well, think about this inning, and the only out, a base running out on a play at the plate. Every batter that has come up has reached so far. 3 walks, a single, a homer, and a double. Brookshire, fly ball to left. Sierra Bryant has the first out of a hitter of the game. And Brookshire retired for the second out here in the second inning.
The way this inning has played out is definitely uncharacteristic. And going back to my point of the short leash element, you know, you think about Trevino, walks 3 batters, then Gray comes in, faces 2, 3, maybe. I have to sort out the chaos of my scorebook in a minute to get you the final answer here, but gives up a couple hits and she's immediately out. So it's interesting to see how the Adelitas have decided to handle this game from a pitching staff perspective, this inning specifically.
Laywood Day batting here for the Monarchs. She is the 8th batter of the second. 4 runs already in. Had a double of her own back in the first inning. By the way, Susie Brookshire, who did fly out to left, is back into the game at second base as the pinch runner in place of Lily Piper. Ground ball to the shortstop, Brocky. And Day retired to finally end the inning. But how about the Monarchs offense? They put up 4 runs in the second to include a 2-run shot from the former Texas State Bobcat, Sarah Vanderford. It has been an offensive day at the ballpark in San Marcos. We've got 11 runs scored through 2 innings. We head to the 3rd here in San Marcos. It is 7-4. Monarchs over Hub City. Slightly overcast Friday night here in Central Texas. About 83 degrees outside, which for this summer is hoodie weather. Wind blowing at about 9 miles an hour. For day 2 of this week's action of WPF softball, week 4 of the season, all 4 teams here in town. Double headers all 4 days. as you look at Texas State's head coach Ricky Woodard. Her mom sitting just off to her left as well in attendance, taking in some pro softball.
Looks like she's got maybe two of her current players with her too, and Carmen Bass and Camden Hutton. She's got to be loving seeing her facility get used in the summer like this, especially for pro softball.
A couple of her former players on these rosters. Jessica Mullins for the Smoke. Vanderford for the Monarchs. Base hit leads off the third inning. What else is new? A leadoff batter getting on this time. Taylor Ellsworth with her second hit of the game.
Taylor Ellsworth continuing to stay hot at the plate. Got to see the big smile on her face. And just knowing Taylor personally, I just can't help but think that she's giggling to herself going, well, the plan's still working. I'm just going to keep swinging at good pitches and see what happens.
This is like video game stuff right now, these two offenses playing on rookie mode as Casas fouls back the first pitch here.
We're not going to know what to do with ourselves if we have a 1-2-3 inning at some point in this game.
Yeah, we saw for the Adelitas 7 bat in the first, 6 bat in the second. And for the Monarchs, 7 in the first for them, 8 in the second. So we are far from 1-2-3s right now.
We might need to incorporate some division to get there.
Well, here's a potential double play ball, and it is. 6-4-3 twin killing. Turned by the Monarchs. Flaherty to Sand to Brookshire. Well, there you go. 1 pitch and 2 outs.
Sometimes you just got to speak things into existence. I'm going to take credit for this one. Perfect turn by Flaherty at short and Sand over at second. Able to get Casas by a step over at first base, and we might have a chance.
We might. So Vickers now with the possibility of facing the minimum here after some good infield defense. The batter, Emily Bracamonte, has fallen behind, 0-2, facing off here against Jaden Vickers. 5 Division I seasons for Vickers, 4 in the Big Ten, 1 in the SEC, 33 wins for her, and 74 starts. Somebody that can eat up a lot of innings over the course of her career as a Scarlet Knight and Wildcat. Went the distance 23 times.
Not only is having that body of workload taxing on you physically, it's also very taxing on you mentally, especially as a pitcher. You know, we've talked about the impact that traffic on the bases can have, but yes, these athletes grew up playing 4, 5, 6 games a day as travel ball athletes to get to the college level, but the intensity of a 7-inning college game takes a travel ball or a high school game, multiplies it by 5-10-fold, because you're tuned in every pitch. The games are longer, you have longer warm-ups. Whether you're a pitcher, hitter, catcher, whatever it may be, you're out here on the field for a long time, and the mental grind of the game of softball is not easy. There's a lot of failure involved, so to be able to handle that workload both physically and mentally says a lot about the type of athlete that Vickers is in the circle.
Again, you go back to opening weekend against the Texas Smoke. Vickers in her first start in the WPF, and she was excellent in that game. Vickers against that tough Smoke lineup. Able to go the distance as Bracamonte takes that pitch high. 7 innings that game, struck out 9, and held that offense to just 2 runs over 7 innings.
Not easy to do, especially with an offense like the Texas Smoke.
On the ground, that's a base hit for Bracamonte, so there will be no 1-2-3 inning, at least not yet.
Maybe next time. Good job by Bracamonte, though. Getting in pitch she can handle in a full count. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Just drives it right back up the middle for a base hit.
Bracamonte, good third baseman. We've talked a lot about Vanderford for the Monarchs. Well, Bracamonte in her own right. 48 starts at third base for Toledo this year. And now Vickers will visit with the infield here. The inning extends to Sierra Bryan. And a 3-run game here in the top of the third inning. Adelitas have the chance to accomplish a franchise first today. A win would give them their first winning streak as a franchise. For the Monarchs, Been a tough stretch for them after sweeping Hub City a couple of weeks ago. They have dropped 3 of 4, looking for a bounce-back win today. And a pinch runner is going to come in for Jamie Juarez, the Adelitas head coach at first base, in the place of Bracamonte. Pinch runner into the game now, Marlene Espinosa. And Vickers back to work, facing off against Sierra Bryan from Covington, Georgia. First 4 years of her college career, staying at her home states, playing for the Georgia Bulldogs. Then transferred to Louisiana, where she was a Sun Belt Player of the Year, reconnecting with Coach Jerry Glasgow, who first recruited her when she was 12 years old.
It's always funny how little connections you make along the way in not only softball but also in life can kind of come back around full circle. You just never know when you're going to need that bridge. Jerry Glasgow, very well known in the college softball community, has had a ton of success everywhere he's gone, whether it be the SEC or most recently at Louisiana. He's now accepted the head coach position up in Lubbock at Texas Tech University.
Pop up, Piper collides with Vanderford, and Vanderford's the one that makes the catch. So some miscommunication. Vanderford winds up with the ball, and that's going to end the inning. So a collision, but an out for the Monarchs. So for the first time in this game, a 0 put up on the board. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas 7-4 on the official WPF YouTube channel. Through 2 innings, the Monarchs have 7 runs on 8 hits to include a couple of home runs. Susie Brookshire, a 2-out opposite field homer in the 1st inning for the Monarchs at the time, put them on top 3-2. In the 2nd inning, it was Sarah Vanderford, a 2-run bomb of her own. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, Monarchs trying to add some more runs to their lead, on top 7-4. Couple of crooked numbers already for the Texas Monarchs. 3 in the 1st, 4 in the 2nd. And after a scoreless top of the 3rd inning, we go to the bottom half with Fessler leading off. Should be followed by Kearney and Flaherty. Bottom 3rd of the order, facing off against Allie Lights in the 7-4 game. Brent Freeman alongside former Division I standout Haley McKay. Began her career at Arkansas, and then after that, 4 years at Texas State. Went to the NCAA tournament a couple of times. Won a Sun Belt championship her first year with the Bobcats. A dual championship season, regular season and tournament title. Went clinching that title in a tough park to play, Lanson Park in Lafayette.
I don't know if I'll ever forget winning the Sun Belt Conference tournament on Louisiana's field. It was just such a special moment, and yes, so many memories in my career are fun to look back on, but I'm not sure that that one will be topped.
Of course, the team this year in this ballpark, the side of the 2024 Sun Belt tournament, it was a championship final yet again. Louisiana and Texas State, as it has been for so many times over the past several years. behind Vanderford's big offensive game and Jessica Mullins' pitching. Bobcats beat the Cajuns here to clinch their first tournament championship since your team had in 2018.
And the Texas State Bobcats of the 2024 squad had to work really hard to even get to that championship game. It was not an easy route to put themselves in position for a shot at that title. Had to come from behind at least once, possibly twice, to even get to that point. So they made this San Marcos community very proud and had the opportunity to play in the NCAA regional tournament as well.
Of course, there were some Bobcat fans who were a little miffed that Texas State beat Louisiana in the tournament and thought that should have given them the regional nod to host, but the 16th and final site was in fact given to the Raging Cajuns.
And there's so many elements that go into determining a host site. Yes, Texas State was playing arguably better ball at the end of the season, but the committee looks at the entire season's body of work to decide who gets to host and also which teams go where. So the committee felt like Louisiana overall had a better resume and deserved that host spot. But nonetheless, there's no easy regional anywhere in the country by the time that you're one of the top 64 teams still playing in May. So everything's a dogfight, and both Louisiana and Texas State had to fight it out in regionals.
Jada Kearney batting after the walk to Fessler. Kearney walked and scored herself in the second inning. Last week, Kearney was one of the 3 players as a part of the back-to-back-to-back home runs hit by the Monarchs against the tidal wave in the 6th inning of last week's opener as Fessler steals second base. So again, kind of a dramatic moment as you see Fessler flash the Monarchs sign back to her dugout. Look back at the stolen base here from Fessler. Good jump. Brocky's tag is not in time. Tough to test Ellsworth there, but Fessler does and wins.
Fessler got a great pitch to run on, too. A little bit of an off-speed from Light in the circle. Taylor Ellsworth has an absolute cannon behind the plate. Still made it a close play and possibly even gets Fessler with a little bit of a lower throw there. But nonetheless, a great pitch to run on, and now Fessler's got herself in scoring position.
Good pitch here from Light down to the zone. Kearney can't check her swing. That is the first strikeout for Adelitas pitching in the game. Now to the plate, Devin Flaherty. Again, to that opener last week, the Monarchs trailed Coastal Bend and Robstown 4-1 of the 6th inning. And then got back-to-back-to-back home runs. Susie Brookshire, Kelly Torres, and Jada Kearney to come back and tie the game. Nothing in one. That's a big miss there from Light. 1 ball and 1 strike to Flaherty. Yeah, not only was that the first strikeout for Adelitas pitching, Vickers doesn't have any either for the Monarchs. That's really rare to get through this many at-bats at a game, and that's the first strikeout. Off the outer part of the plate, 2-1. So the 2 teams in this game have combined for 28 at-bats, not counting walks, so really more than 30. First strikeout.
I mean, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and we're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of traffic all day long from first pitch.
Now, I should note, as you see Light visiting with her catcher here, Ellsworth, that Game 2 of the doubleheader is scheduled. Important to underline and put that in bold font. Scheduled for 7 o'clock. Start time could be pushed back if this game goes long.
Yeah, we might need a little help from the softball gods if they want that game to start at 7 p.m. on time at the rate this game is going. But you can't say that watching this game you're bored, because there's certainly been lots of traffic and lots of plays and things to watch. So
3 balls, 1 strike to Devin Flaherty. Runner at second base, Fessler, 1 out here in the 3rd in the 7-4 game. Flaherty takes strike 2 at the knees. Devin Flaherty Looking at her Florida State career, 16 homers, drove in 110. And her final year with the Seminoles, hit .329 this season. As she's sitting on 2 strikes right now, she struck out just 7 times all year. And here with a base hit that's going to bounce off the wall. Drives in Sarah Fassler for another run. Over to second base, the double is Flaherty, and the hits just continue to pile up for the Monarchs.
What a beautiful swing from Devin Flaherty. Such a simple, compact, quick swing. Gets a pitch on the outside corner. Knows exactly what to do with it. Just so short and efficient to the ball with the great extension. Easy stand-up double for Flaherty.
Back at the top of the order, Briley St. Clair. Swing and a miss, strike 1. St. Clair's been on twice, a single and a walk. She has scored a run and also got thrown out at the plate. So we've gone from an ACC star and Flaherty to the SEC to St. Clair. Played at Mississippi State, grab ball to third. Bracamonte with the throw, and that's good for the second out.
Nice job by Bracamonte over there at third base to stay under control. The speed of Briley St. Clair running down the line. Have to keep your composure as a defender, but also able to handle that spin that kind of came off the bat. Able to stay still in rhythm with the ball, secure it, and make a strong throw over to first base.
Runner at third, 2 outs for Kylie Sand, who's 2 for 2 with an RBI. I want to get back to Flaherty, the runner at third, for a moment here. So 5 years at Florida State, played in 275 games, 4th most in program history. So you start playing at a young age, travel ball, high school, college, 5 years, almost 300 games. Maybe for some players there's burnout, but for Flaherty, wants to extend her career to the pro ranks as well. Shortly after Florida State's season ends, she signs with the WPF, just keeps it going, just tells you just how passionate she and a lot of these players here are for the game.
You don't get to this level without a deep love for the game, because this sport is a grind. Physically, mentally, emotionally, there's a ton of failure involved. And let's be honest, being a college student athlete is a lot of work. You have very little free time. You're managing a full class load, probably a social life somewhere in there along the way, maybe outside of your teammates. It's a lot to take, and to continue to choose to do that after college, I mean, that's just dedication and an understanding that you're in the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. So using this opportunity to her advantage, like you said, it just says so much about her passion for the game.
Sand takes a strike. And pitch up with the zone, 3-2. You live that life, Haley. If you had to estimate, how many hours did you spend over the course of your playing career in the batting cages?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin to estimate it, to be honest.
As Haley thinks over that math, we are going to step aside. We are through 3 innings. The Monarchs have built an 8-4 lead against the Adelitas as they try to even out this 4-game series. From San Marcos, we're back after this. Leading off this 4th inning is Savannah Wasaki, not with the team over the past couple of weeks. So her first at-bat with the Adelitas in quite some time, able to leg out a triple And a ball, again, not all that hard hit, found its way past 3 fielders, wound up driving in a run, hitting the Adelitas' first triple of the series. However, her team down 8-4 as we start the 4th inning. More on Savannah Wasaki from El Paso, Texas. Played her college softball in the Division II ranks, Lubbock Christian University. So kind of staying home of sorts by signing on to play for Hub City, headquartered in Lubbock. She too played in the Mexican Softball League earlier this year, as we referenced earlier, and she carries dual citizenship in the U.S. and Mexico and has played with the Mexican national team. Vickers in the circle for the Monarchs. 4th inning of work starts off Wasaki with the strike. So I challenged Haley to do the math. We talked about how much time and sweat equity you have to pour into the sport if you're going to play at a high level. How many hours had she spent at the batting cages, you estimated, just during your college career alone, not counting your travel ball, high school, etc., 2,000 hours.
Yeah, if you think about it, you're practicing 3 to 4 hours a day. That's not including treatment time, warm-up, any of that. Then, of course, there's your extra hitting on top of that. And then you're going 5 days a week, usually 6 when you're in season. And then you got probably 30 weeks of the year that you're doing that, not in counting off season. So when I said earlier you don't get to this point without loving it or just a really, really determined work ethic, I don't see how anyone could play softball or any college sport at a high level without a deeply rooted passion for it, to be honest, because it is so much work and it takes so much of your time. And if you don't love what you're doing, why are you doing it, you know?
2 balls, 2 strikes to Wasaki. As fights it off to stay alive, and all we get to see and enjoy at the games. The games last 7 innings, in some cases shorter, hour and a half, 2 hours, some are longer. But the games themselves are such a small part of it. I know everything is for the games, but the amount of time invested to play those 7 innings is infinitely more than the games themselves.
That's so true, but to be honest, I think that's what I miss the most. I'll get back to that in a minute, but what an incredible over-the-shoulder basket catch by Devin Flaherty. Boy, I don't think she can believe it with the reaction on her face.
Yeah, that was remarkable. Look back at this play here from Devin Flaherty. Kind of loses the ball a bit, but able to keep kind of tracking it. Got her head turned around, lands right in her glove, and a great play for the first out here in the 4th.
She made that look so easy, and it's not. You can tell by the reaction on her face that she's a little bit shocked that she hauled it in.
Again, a player that's invested a lot of time in this game. That's the first time we've seen her make that play, but I'm sure it's not the first time she's done it.
Definitely not the first time. And back to my point earlier, when I look back and think about what I miss the most, it's those moments in the cages where you're goofing around with your teammates, you're working through something that's hard, those one-on-one moments with your coaches. Of course I miss competing, and you miss the opportunity to see your hard work pay off. But knowing how much work you put into having that success is what makes it worth it. So it really is the little things that I personally miss, the bus rides, the practices, the conversations in the training room after, whatever it may be. Those little moments are really what make up so much of your whole career.
And, of course, it helps to have a great support system as this player does here. McKenna Brocky, we've told her story a couple of times during the Adelitas' now 3 trips to San Marcos. Her sister, Courtney Gano, all Pac-12 player at Washington, later with the national team. Her mom, All-American player at Cal Poly, and her dad as well, a former baseball player, spent time with the Mariners organization. So the entire Brocky family knows what it's like to go to the cages, to go to the gym, to get ready to practice and all that. A lot of time and effort invested to develop McKenna and her sister.
She's probably one of the few athletes that when everyone in your family says, I know how you feel, they really do. They really get it because they've lived it and they've walked it.
Again, Brocky, great day yesterday, 3 for 3 at the plate for Brocky. Had a sac fly RBI in this game. Batting here with the bases empty and 2 outs in the 4th inning. We've been looking for that elusive first 1-2-3 inning of the game. And Vickers trying to deliver on that right now. 2-2 is way out of the zone. The count fills here to Brocky.
Just going back to your point about Brocky's support system and, you know, really living that life with her and understanding what it takes. Sometimes that also comes with a lot of pressure too. You know, you think about this success that your family's had in a sport that you also chose to play. That's not always the easiest, and sometimes it can maybe even test your personal relationships. So the fact that she's got that support system around her that knows what it takes and knows her well can sometimes maybe be a little bit of a blessing and a curse.
A 2-out walk will extend the inning now to Lena Reboledo. Reboledo got all this offense in the game going with a 2-run homer in the first inning. She's homered twice in the series now. Falls behind 0-1. We talked at length about the Mexican League and Reboledo herself playing for the champions of the league this past March, Charros de Jalisco. And again, before her pro career, 5 years at Utah Valley. In 2022 was a Wolverine, had 61 hits, 5th most in Utah Valley history. One pitch, Reboledo. Hits that out of play. The count now ball and 2 strikes. Daisy Munoz awaits on deck in a 4-run game here in the 4th inning.
You know, there's been so much traffic on the base pass, so many hits, extra base hits, home runs, doubles, walks. Kind of feels like the game is maybe, dare I say it, trying to kind of settle in some now. And this is where, if you're the Adelitas in this situation, you know, you're down 4 runs. Nice play by Devin Flaherty.
We said that twice in the inning. Flaherty caught a pop-up here, a clean job of fielding a grounder at shorts, and we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. After the 2-out walk, Reboledo retired and Flaherty's play from short. It's 8-4 Monarchs over the Adelitas. Leading off in the 4th inning is Sarah Vanderford. Last time she was up, she went deep. Vanderford, for the longest time, known as the doubles queen of Texas State, but also set the program record for home runs this season, and she has homered 3 times against the Adelitas this year. As we go into the 4th inning, and her Monarch team on top 8-4. Vanderford, again, great power numbers throughout her Texas State career. This season, her final year as a Bobcat, homered 11 times at 26 doubles among the nation leaders and drove in more than 50.
The fact that Sarah Vanderford had so much success over such an extended period of time, being a 5-year athlete with all the film, all the scouting that exists in the game today, is such a testament to her work ethic and just her raw talent. The way that she was able to continue to trust her strengths and reinvent herself in certain ways to be better at the outside pitch, for example, and not have any holes in her game is just such a testament to the kind of athlete she is.
She came to a Texas State team, but that's fouled away, strike 1. Her first year was a COVID-shortened year, which Haley and I talked about earlier. So really, most of that team did return. For 2021, there was an extra year of intent awarded to players who otherwise were going to see their eligibility exhausted. Wanted to give them a chance beyond COVID. So Vanderford joins a very offensive team. her first year plus at Texas State. Rolls a ground ball to Brocky, takes care of it for the first out. There is yourself, Haley. There's Tara Altman at shortstop. Ariane Bell, a great hitter, who also platooned at the outfield. It was a home run hitting team. You know, Vanderford, I think, learned a lot playing alongside, you know, teammates like that, to include yourself. And you fast forward to the end of her career, and has gone down as perhaps the greatest offensive player, one of the best ever at Texas State.
Yeah, there's no doubt that having the senior class that she did made an impact on her career.
I'll tell you, making an impact there, Lily Piper, a line drive home run for the Monarchs. Third homer of the game for Texas, and the Monarchs have staked a 9-4 lead, and Piper a 3-hit game.
You want to know what it looks like when people say that ball was on a rope? That right there. This is what it means when the ball is on a rope. It's a low pitch. Lily Piper drops the barrel, gets underneath of it. That clears the fence by maybe 2 feet, and it was out of here in probably 2 seconds. That was smoked.
So Lily Piper at Ohio State hit 48 career homers of her own. Homers for the second time in this ballpark, hit a home run on opening day against the Smoke. Homers here. Had a team once down 4-3, now has scored 6 unanswered, leading 9-4. One away in the 4th inning. Brookshire fouls it back at strike 2.
Let's also not forget that Lily Piper started her day with the bunt single.
Yeah.
So I would say Lily Piper has seen the ball pretty well today. Hasn't yet to been recorded in the scorebook. Bunt single, a double in the 2nd, and now a laser of a home run here in the 4th.
Swing and a miss, and Light with her second strikeout, 2 down. You know, back to Piper. Mentioned the 48 homers in Columbus with the Buckeyes as you look back at the strikeout from Lights. In 2018 at Ohio State, her junior year, her slugging percentage was out of a healthy OPS, 876 she slugged that year. That is the 3rd highest in the history of the Big Ten.
Those are video game numbers.
Yeah. Again, OPS, you're combining on base and slugging. 876 isn't bad. It's not, you know, top of the conference good. Normally those hitters are have an OPS around 1,000, but to slug 876, unbelievable.
That's just crazy to me. The definition of coming up to the plate to do damage. There was a joke when I played for Coach Woodard here at Texas State that she didn't bring me here to hit ground balls, and I'm going to guess that Lily Piper's head coach didn't bring her to Ohio State to hit ground balls either.
You see Jessica Mullins, her star pitcher over the last several years, now visiting with Ricky Woodard in the stands, and another new uniform set, too, for the Smoke. So we've seen all red, all black pinstripe, a new white alternate introduced last week, and a white pinstripe, and now a neon green or / yellow here for the Smoke today.
You definitely can't miss the Smoke athletes in that color, that's for sure.
That is grounded sharply. To Munoz makes a play at first base. That's going to end the inning, but the Monarchs play long ball again. 3rd homer of the day. This one off the bat of Lily Piper. A solo shot for the former Ohio State Buckeye. And the Monarchs now lead by 5. We head to the 5th, and it's 9-4. 9-4 Monarchs on top, and coming up the nightcap between the reigning WPF champion Texas Smoke in Game 2 of their series against the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave. Not wearing her jersey but getting ready is Samantha Shao, and there she is. Has the pants on, just not the top yet. Samantha Shao, a tremendous two-way player for the Texas Smoke. Played her college softball at both Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. And again, has been one of the top two-way players in the league this year. And there is Jessica Mullins, the winning pitcher for the Smoke. Last night, the Smoke were down 1-0 going into the bottom of the sixth inning after Mullins got her team out of a jam, inherited a 2-0 pitch count, and the bases loaded, retired the batter. In the bottom of the inning, the offense scored 7 runs en route to a 7-1 win. Daisy Munoz leads off the fifth here for the Adelitas. Now, I'll say this about Jaden Vickers. Haley, the game started really rough for her. Gave up 6 hits, 4 runs in the first 2 innings, but since then has really settled in.
Yeah, and what I love about Vickers is her composure has remained the exact same the entire time, which is just a testament to her being a veteran. She understands that you can't ride the highs and lows of the game, and she knows that her offense has had her back and will continue to do so. So she's just continued to focus on one pitch at a time and find a way to get the momentum back, and here she is still in the game here in the top of the fifth.
2 balls, 1 strike to Munoz. 1 for 2 with a single in the game. Hitters 4 through 6 due up for the Adelitas in the fifth. This is away, and the count's 3-1. Daisy Munoz from Winter Park, California. Second year of playing pro softball last year. Played in the Netherlands after her college career. This ball belted to left, way gone. My goodness, what a swing from Daisy Munoz. Homers for her 3rd straight game.
It's been a long time since I've seen someone clear both fences here at Texas State Softball Stadium. But that ball from Daisy Munoz left here in a hurry, and it's not coming back.
I'm not sure I have ever seen a ball hit that hard here. You said it. Easily cleared the second wall behind the stadium. Almost reached the train tracks here. Look at this. Into orbit.
Just absolutely crushed. Went down and got a pitch about mid-shin height. Did not miss it.
We have seen 5 homers in the game now. 3 for the Monarchs, 2 for the Adelitas. This after the Adelitas homered 3 times yesterday. No balls, 2 strikes to Ellsworth, who's 2 for 2. Ground ball. Shortstop Flaherty from behind the bag at second makes the play. And Flaherty continues to shine at shortstop in this game.
Devin Flaherty is just so good. You hit it in the air, she's going to go catch it. You hit it on the ground, she's going to go field it behind second base. You give her a short hop, she can handle that too. I mean, she literally does it all over there at shortstop, and she just looks like she's having the time of her life while she does it. So fun to watch.
First out of the inning. Yeah, it looks like a pinch hitter coming up here. And that is Peyton Lopez, pinch hitting for Alejandra Casas. So Lopez out of Portland State steps in now with the bases empty and 1 out in a 9-5 game. Takes strike 1 here from Jaden Vickers. Swung on, deep to center, going back, and that is off the glove of St. Clair. Stays in play. Lopez with a 1-out double, just missed, going deep herself.
I just love seeing pinch hitters come in and blast the ball off the wall. It doesn't get any better than this. No fear. Bradley St. Clair doing her best to track this. I thought she had a beat on it, just unable to haul it in right up against the wall. Beautiful piece of hitting from Lopez.
Boy, at times Vickers just leaves the ball over too much to the plate. You look back at her year with Kentucky, and opposing batters hit 16 homers against her this season, hitting .275. If she's unable to keep the ball down, and she has them do some good ground ball outs in this game to include that double play that the Monarchs turned to the third inning, and some balls that's given Flaherty a chance to make a play at shortstop. But if she can't keep it down, up and elevated in the zone, they're traveling a long way.
Yeah, I think for me, watching the WPF versus college, that's where you see the biggest jump is as a pitcher, if you leave the ball up or over the heart of the plate, even if you leave it up and it's on the corner, these hitters make you pay for it. And there's not been a lot of missed hits on either side in this game. When hitters have decided to go, they've done damage or they've hit the ball hard right to someone. So you're right, Brant. Leaving the ball over the heart of the plate is definitely something that hitters in this league across all 4 teams will make you pay for.
You made the comment earlier, you know, this was at a time when the game was still relatively early, but it still stands true now, that there have been 20 hits in the game, 14 runs scored, and none of it's been fluky. You know, like a weakly hit ground ball, with maybe the exception of the triple hit by Savannah Wasaki, which was, you know, a solid base hit, just not hit all that hard. But the ball is just flying off the bat right now.
Yeah, to me, you can just tell that hitters for both the Adelitas and the Monarchs, they're stepping in the box and they're swinging with conviction. They're not swinging to hope to get a hit. They're swinging with a plan. They're swinging to drive the ball. They're on time. They're not getting fooled by the off speed. They're not chasing pitches out of the zone. And as a result of that, because of their approach, when the ball is in the zone and the mistakes are made, you can see it tenfold in the home runs, clearing both the fences, Lily Piper's leaving the yard in about 2 seconds.
Do you think that both the tidal wave and the smoke and attendants watch the game, or maybe seeing this unfold and getting a feel to how the park is playing today?
Possibly. Yeah, it's not very windy today. It's definitely not as humid as it could be. You mentioned it earlier, it's a little bit cooler today, so the ball's definitely flying, that's for sure. But if I'm watching this as the smoke or the tidal wave getting ready to play, the feedback I'm getting is keep the ball down.
Yeah.
Make the plays when you have the opportunity, hit your spots. And as a hitter, I'm feeling pretty confident if the ball's flying the way that it is, that I just need to put a good swing on a good pitch.
Overcast at first pitch, but now some of the clouds parting a bit. The sun is out. Temperature's not all that high considering what we've been up against all summer here in Texas. Great Friday night setting here in San Marcos. Week 4 of the season. Texas Smoke, a sizable lead for first place. Monarchs, Tidal Wave, and Adelitas all battling right now for second. A place currently held by the Monarchs with their 6-6 record, a 2-game lead rather over Coastal Bend for second, 3 games over Hub City. As Sierra Bryan bats here with 2 outs, runner at second base, Lopez, and a 1-1 count. Stays fair and played well by Brookshire to end the inning. But the inning began with a Daisy Munoz moonshot to left. One of 5 homers into this game. That ball came exploding off the bats. Munoz, 3 homers in 3 games. But the Adelitas still trail the Monarchs 9-5 here in San Marcos. A 9-5 game. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas. Adelitas won last night in 5 innings, 9-1. Monarchs looking for payback. So far, so good if you're the hosts. Leading by 4, the bottom third of the order batting here. Facing off against Adelitas. The Adelitas were searching for pitching answers when the game started. The starter, Chloe Temples, struggled. After that, you needed Trevino and then Liv Gray. Neither or none of the 3 pitchers went more than 2/3 of an inning. But Lida's come in and has held her own. Has been pitching since the 2nd inning. And the scoring has slowed down just a bit for the Monarchs. Count 2-1 here to Fester, the leadoff batter out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Light's done a good job, like you said, slowing the offense. Hasn't stopped him completely. She's given up 2 doubles and a home run. But she's picked up a couple of strikeouts, several flyouts, and definitely the best answer that the Adelitas have had so far in this matchup against the Monarchs.
Spoke about Texas State head coach Ricky Woodard in attendance. Well, for Fester, her head coach, Brian Campbell, was the Horizon League Coach of the Year at Youngstown State. A Penguin program that won the Horizon League this year. Fessler shoots that foul. 36 wins this season for Youngstown State. Went on to play in the NCAA tournament.
What I love about this league and the 4 teams we have in it is the pro athletes that you're seeing. It's not overloaded by Power 4/5 athletes. Yes, there's SEC and ACC and Big 12 former athletes, but you do have a lot of mid-major athletes in here as well between the Sun Belt, the Horizon League. We have athletes from Team Mexico. There's a lot of diversity in the league, and I think that's important for younger girls watching professional softball that have aspirations to maybe play in college or beyond. You don't have to go to the biggest school with the best resources in order to have an incredible career and play after college.
You know, I'm looking at the Monarchs roster right now and looking at the conferences that were represented for these players in their final year of college. Non-Power 5s, you know, the American, the West Coast Conference, the Horizon League, the Sun Belt Conference, the MAC, the Big Sky as well, all represented on this roster.
And I think that's the biggest thing in the last probably 5 to 10 years that I've seen in the sport of softball. Because when I was getting recruited to play in college, and I'm going to date myself here a little bit, but it was kind of this Power 5 or bust mentality, I feel like. Everybody wanted to go to the big school. Everybody wanted the flashy name on their chest, and rightfully so. Like, I fully get why there's that desire. That's the dream. But when you look at the NCAA tournament, and this isn't just in softball these days, mid-majors are making a splash, and they're making their presence known. They're competing well against the Power 5s of the world. And you hear about so many athletes that played at smaller schools that are now having their time in the sun as pro athletes.
Boy, and the runner from first base, Fester, took a big lead, had a hustle to get back, almost thrown out at first, but then the throw back towards first base sails into the dugout. So after all of that, Fester winds up at third.
It's an unfortunate turn of events for the Adelitas, because if that throw from Brian is online, they likely have a double play. But now, because the ball went into the dugout, Fessler is awarded 2 bases.
Yeah, the throw from Brian took Munoz well off the bag into the dugout. Well, now Lyndon Baptiste just put up his fist, almost signaling an out there.
I wonder if she left early. It's the only thing I can think of that would cause her to be out, but they didn't call dead ball.
Yeah, she left the base before the pitch was thrown, before the ball left Light's hand. Then Kearney gets to continue her at-bat, and only the base runner is out there. And so that's what's happened here. Kearney's going to continue her at-bat. So she's not out, but Fessler is. And there should be just one out in the inning. And by the way, this is the first time this particular call has been made in WPF games in this ballpark this year. A base runner being called out for leaving early. And there you see our plate umpire, Robert Sines, say it's one out. The count 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kearney. Look at it again. And Fessler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely early.
It's a good call by Lyndon Baptiste at first base, catching that.
And it's worth noting that the reason the umpires let the play out is the coach then has a discretion to decide which outcome they take.
And Kearney takes advantage. Bangs a base hit off the wall. A long single for Kearney. A one-out single here in the 5th inning.
You said it, Brant. Jada Kearney making the most of another opportunity. This is another pitch that's just hammered.
Yeah.
We've seen this all night long. These hitters have such a appropriate plan when they get in the box. And it's one thing to have a plan, but then to execute it with so much conviction that they've done all night long. So impressive on both sides.
That ball is up 2 more feet. That's going to clear.
Easily.
Kind of hit in the same vein that Piper's homer left the yard earlier in the game.
Yep.
But a good day for Devin Flaherty. Defensively and at the plate, a walk and a double. Has scored and has also driven in a run. One ball, 1 strike from Lights. That's hit out of play. The count's now a ball and 2 strikes. Monarchs open the year facing off against the reigning champion Texas Smoke. Lost the first 3 games of that series, salvaged a game on Sunday, and then swept Hub City in week 2 in 4 games. The following week, which was last week, went to Robstown to take on Coastal Bend. Tidal Wave won that series 2-1. Ground ball. The play at second not made. So Brocky, the shortstop, had to cover a lot of ground to get to that ball. And then the throw to second base not in time, and both runners are safe.
I feel like Jada Kearney got a little bit lucky on this call here. Not a bad decision by Brocky to go to the short way to second base. She didn't have any momentum set up to throw to first. I would expect Jada Kearney to slide into second base in that situation. But nonetheless, a lucky call for the Monarchs.
That is a fielder's choice for Flaherty. Meanwhile, Kearney take it out for a pinch runner, Jenna Keene. The Monarchs perhaps smelling blood in the water here. Trying to add to a 4-1 lead in the 5th inning. The top of the order coming up, Bradley St. Clair. St. Clair's been on twice. That's a foul ball from St. Clair. And the count is 0-1. A 9-5 lead for the Monarchs, scoring 3 in the first, 4 in the seconds, and a single run in both the 3rd and 4th innings. Well, again, this offense through 5 innings last night, a single run on 2 hits. Today, it's been a far different story.
Softball's such a funny game in the sense that, you know, the game doesn't know that you put up 1 run last night or 19. But if you carry over the lull of last night into the following day, you set yourself up for, I don't want to say failure, but not as much success, right? You have to be able to flush whatever happened the day before or the at-bat before or the pitch before and just continue to grind because you never know what the outcome could be.
Did you ever pick up in all your years of playing the game of what the difference was? You go to the ballpark one day and offensively, you know, nothing goes right. The ball never finds grass, always finds an outfielder or infielder's glove. But then the next day you have a game like this.
I don't know if there's ever a perfect reason for it. I think it just comes down to how you approach it mentally, because you could look at that outcome two ways. Let's say you have a day where you hit the ball so hard and you go 0 for 4 and you just hit line drive after line drive to the same person. But then the next day you hit 3 for 3 on bloop singles.
Yeah.
You're probably going to feel a lot better about the 4 hard hit balls that you had, even though they didn't get recorded as an out. So to me, you can't just look at how it's scored on paper. You have to look at the quality of the at-bats. What was the process like that lended you to put yourself in a position to have success? Because you could have the best at-bat in the world and still not get a hit. So you can't just look at the end result. So I think how you look at it mentally is one thing, and sometimes it's just not your day, you know?
Sure.
Sometimes maybe if you're playing a pitcher that you know that you've seen earlier in the series, for example, that can kind of play into it too. But other than that, I think it's just kind of the way the game plays.
Well, for the first time in this game, the Monarchs unable to score at the plates. We head to the 6th inning, 5 innings in the books, and the Adelitas trailing the Monarchs 9-5 here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. The fans catching game 1 of this doubleheader between the Monarchs and the Adelitas. On deck, it is Coastal Bend against the Texas Smoke. And right now, the Monarchs holding a 9-5 lead as we go to the 6th inning. Special treat for the fans at the end of this game tonight. Every Friday game, the Smoke play here in St. Marcus, there is a post-game fireworks show. We wondered if that was going to be the case last week because it was July the 5th, the day after July 4th. And the Smoke, put on the fireworks show as Vickers, a good pick in the circle, retires Wasaki. 1 up and 1 down here in the 6th inning. So after the huge citywide fireworks show the night before, July 4th, the Smoke again had their own post-game fireworks show here last Friday night.
Why not? Continuing to celebrate freedom even after July 4th.
The Smoke and Adelitas pushed their July 4th game back an hour to 6 o'clock. As we see a new right fielder, Sarah Fessler, or beg your pardon, it is Jenna Keene who's now in right field. And Fessler's moved to left. That'll take Jada Kearney out of the game for the time being. Some outfield changes here for the Monarchs. Top of the order batting for the Adelitas, Blaze Behringer. Base is empty, 1 away. Hitters count coming up, 3-1. Behringer with a chopper. Flaherty plays it well in front of the bag at second, and the throw just not in time. But the effort was there once again from Devin Flaherty.
Devin Flaherty doing everything in her power, trying to get this ball, willing it to come down as fast as possible. But the speed of Behringer just too much, unable to get the throw over there before she gets down the line.
Boy, the motion there for Flaherty to field and fire made it look so fluid. Now it is Brocky lashes the first pitch foul near her dugout at first base, which is also where the tidal wave were positioned, just outside the first base dugout. They're getting ready for their game against the Smoke.
Going back to the fluidity of Devin Flaherty, not only is everything she does so fluid, but it just looks like she's having so much fun. It's just easy to watch her play the game. So fundamentally sound. Not only makes the great plays, but also makes the routine ones as well.
Meanwhile, Vickers another nice play in the circle defensively. 2 outs here in the 6th inning. A productive out though move, Behringer to second base, and now the batter, Lena Reboledo. 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. Reboledo fouls off the first pitch towards the tidal wave for strike 1. Saw some brand new uniforms for the tidal wave last night. Dark navy blue pinstripe uniforms, and today the white look with the colored sleeves. So the team color scheme, blue and yellow. And an accessory that Bill pointed out last night, the coaching staff for the tidal wave were straw hats.
It was a butterfly clip, but I'll let it slide.
I think that depends on the wearer. It was funny. I think we went to break because I'm not sure if they got over the air or not, but Bill made some kind of mention to me, you wouldn't wear one of those, would you? My response was, you know me well. Works well for Blake Miller and his staff. Wouldn't work for me.
It's almost a personal umbrella.
Yeah, that is true. I just prefer to hold an actual umbrella. There's a pop-up caught by Brookshire, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 9-5. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas here in the official WPF YouTube channel. And welcome back to San Marcos, home of the Texas State Bobcats. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas 9-5 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Part of the order due up for the Monarchs. Vanderford, Piper, and Brookshire. Again, the home of the Bobcats, also the home of the Monarchs and the Smoke in this 2024 WPF season. Vanderford takes a first pitch strike from Lights. Vanderford, one of the 3 home runs the Monarchs have hit today. A 2-run shot that came back in the 2nd.
Nice pitch there from Light, just nibbling outside corner, right at the knees. Really tough to hit that pitch with any kind of power, especially when it's off speed.
On the ground to the right side, Behringer. And there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Yeah, I referenced my conversation about the headwear. for the tidal wave with Bill yesterday. He has chimed in with hashtag Team Hats, so he's still a fan. Now, there was another conversation Bill and I had over the air yesterday where he referenced cars being known in slang as whips. Had you heard of that before?
Yes, but to be honest, not in that sense. Not as in a, well,
I
yeah.
could now, to be fair, I could be completely butchering it right now.
No, because people say, oh, you got a new whip. You got a new car.
It just doesn't sound right coming from him. 1 ball, no strikes, and I know he's listening. Piper lines out to the shortstop. Brocky makes a play, and 2 outs in the 6th inning.
I was going to say, I won't tell him you told me that, but then I knew he was listening.
I
So
said it
there's no way I
knowing.
can have your back. I'm sorry.
I said it knowing he was watching.
You're hung out to dry on that one all on your own.
Good play from Brocky. And again, the former San Diego State tandem in the field right now for the Adelitas. Light the pitcher, Brocky shortstop. That is strike 1 to Susie Brookshire. And Brookshire smashes that foul. Count runs to 0-2. Talked at length about, again, some of the journeys these players have taken. Talked about some of the experience some have in Mexico. Well, for Brookshire, she's been a member of the Mexican women's national team since 2017.
See, she's got the Olympic rings tattooed on her right forearm just below the elbow.
Fly ball to the left, handled by Bryan. And a 1-2-3-6 for Allie Light. We head to the top of the 7th. The Adelitas down to their final 3 outs. They need 4 runs, trailing the Monarchs 9-5. We're back to San Marcos after this. Awaiting the end of this game is the Coastal Bend tidal wave. They're going to take on Texas Smoke in Game 2 of our doubleheader. The tidal wave with an impressive series win last week back home in Robstown. They beat the Monarchs 2-1. Both the wins, walk-off righty for the tidal wave, would drop the opener last night to the Smoke and looking for payback coming up later this evening. Speaking of the Monarchs, they carry a 9-5 lead. As we head into the top of the 7th inning, Allie Light with a high five of one of the tidal wave players. Jaden Vickers going for a complete game. And Kylie Sand has that line drive just go off her glove. Munoz is on again for the Adelitas. That ball was scorched off her bat, but that play nearly made by Kylie Sand.
I really thought Kylie Sand was going to be able to haul this in. How about Daisy Munoz, though, absolutely smashing the outer part of the plate on an outside pitch after she cleared both fences in her previous at-bat with a solo home run over the left center field wall. So Daisy Munoz understanding Vickers' plan in the circle, knowing she hit the inside half of the plate hard, so Vickers is probably going to try to attack the outside pitch, ready for it, and absolutely squares it up.
Boy, today Munoz just ripping the seams off the softball.
Yeah.
Fouled away by Ellsworth. We have a pinch runner at first. Jace Marie Fernandez is pinch running for Munoz. Again, she's been the Adelitas' designated pinch runner this season. As Ellsworth bats here. Again, the start for the game for Vickers was rough. Got tagged for 4 runs in the first 2 innings off 6 hits, surrendered a homer along the way, but since then has really settled in. Just 1 run given up since. Here's a fly ball to right, and coming in is Keene. Towards the line, she'll make the catch for the first out.
Ellsworth just getting underneath that curveball from Vickers a little bit.
Now, you can see a lot of coaches, after those 2 innings, really shorten that leash or maybe just go ahead and make that change. But to the credit of Candace Fitton-Bachbrader and the pitching coach for the Monarchs, Tyler Gunnelson, they have let Vickers kind of work through this after those troublesome 2 innings, and she's pitched really well since then.
Well, and what I think helps give the coaching staff confidence to leave her out there is the fact that the offense responded so quickly and so consistently every time the Adelitas kind of chipped away at taking the lead again. When your offense is responding, you feel a little bit better about extending that leash for your pitcher. If your offense is making absolutely no adjustments and the opposing team is, you have to do something different because your offense isn't adjusting. So when you have an offense that's figuring it out as they go and finding ways to score and put up runs, you have a little bit more wiggle room with your pitcher. And it could be also a part of their larger game plan for the remaining 2 days of the series as well.
2 balls, 1 strike for Peyton Lopez. Just missed hitting a homer of her own early in the game. First few weeks, Lopez was wearing her Portland State batting helmet, but going with the team-issued helmet here. It's fouled away, or at least an unbranded helmet beyond the Under Armour logo. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lopez with Emily Bracamonte waiting on deck. Adelitas in need of base runners, down by 4 and now down to their final 2 outs. Speaking of branded, you see Vickers that Kentucky blue branded glove in the circle. Hard of the plate in there for a strike, and Lopez goes down looking.
Beautiful backdoor curveball from Vickers, located right at the knees on the corner. Lopez can't pull the trigger. That's what's so tough about a righty seeing a backdoor curveball from the left side is the whole way to you, it looks like a ball. So you have to swing at where it's going, not where it looks like it is.
Also thought Piper did a good job of making sure to push that ball a little bit closer to the plate.
Definitely. There's been so many swings and hard hit balls in this game. We haven't really seen a lot of calls that home plate umpire Robert Sinez has had to make. So sometimes as a hitter, when you haven't seen a lot of your teammates take called strikes or get rung up, you may forget, like, where is the strike zone? Where's the limits? We haven't really seen a lot of it, so especially as a pinch hitter, too.
Yeah. Pinch hitter, speaking of which, up here, Casey Flores, pinch hitting for Emily Bracamonte. Adelitas down to their final out, trailing by 4, the runner at first base, and now down to their final strike. This week kind of marks the halfway point of the season. 8 weeks of play in the WPF, and this is week 4.
That's crazy to believe. It feels like summer just started.
Season will extend into August. A swing and a miss, and back-to-back strikeouts from Vickers ends the game. And the Monarchs have evened up this series as they win Game 2, 9-5. And an impressive outing for Vickers after a rough start. Back-to-back cased in the 7th inning. Those are only 2 strikeouts of the night, but good enough for a 9-5 win. Meanwhile, at the plate, we mentioned Lily Piper, the veteran catcher, and the former Buckeye, 3 hits in the game to include a homer in the 4th inning. She's our player of the game.
Lily Piper can do it all. She laid down a sneaky bunt in her first at-bat, doubled in her second, then hit a laser of a home run to the opposite side of the field in her third. Consistent all night long, using all parts of the field, all parts of her offensive game. Super impressive performance, both behind the plate and at the plate by Lily Piper.
And with this win, the Monarchs are back over 500 a record of 7-6. The Adelitas with the loss drops them to 3-10. And up next, we'll have game 2 of our doubleheader between Coastal Bend and the Texas Smoke. But that's going to wrap up our broadcast for now. For Haley McKay, I'm Brant Freeman saying so long from San Marcos, Texas. The final score, the Texas Monarchs 9, the Hub City Adelitas 5. For more information on the WPF, log on to WProFastPitch.com. This has been a presentation of the WPF. Until next time, good night from San Marcos. We're back for game 2 of the doubleheader shortly here at Texas State's Bobcat Softball Stadium.